Hey, hey, hey. Here we are again, live. This time coming at you from the Do the Damn Work Dungeon, aka the home gym. So I'm gonna wait just a second to see if anybody wants to jump on live, and I'll get started here in a second. So I got a question for you. Do any of you, even if you're watching this later on and you hear the replay, do you have a home gym? And what is your favorite piece of equipment in your home gym? And then what's the next piece of equipment that you want to get? For me, my favorite piece is this entire rig right here, just because of how functional it is. You can see, first of all, it's a squat rack. It's also a bench press. It's a pull-up. You see the pull-up bar there? I can hang stuff from it like this TRX strap, bands. It's just versatile. And this one that I bought actually folds up against the wall. So if we wanted to, we'd actually still park cars in here. But there's more stuff out here like bikes and stuff like that. So don't actually park in here. But let me know if you're watching this later on or if you hear this now. What is your favorite piece of home equipment if you have a gym, or what is the next piece of equipment that you want to get? All right, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and respect your time. So this is episode number 3 in a season that I'm calling Intentional Discomfort. So if you've been around the Do the Damn Work movement for a while, you know that intentional discomfort is a term that I use to challenge people to live outside of the comfort zone that might be holding them back. And to ask yourself the question, what am I willing to struggle for? And reframe how you think of struggle instead of it being such a sacrifice and as if something's being taken away from you or it's a bad thing. Start understanding it as it's essential to have a certain level of struggle for whatever it is you want. You just have to. You can deny it if you want, but no matter what, when you choose to go after something, even if it's something that you love, there is a certain amount of struggle involved. Now, understand this. Struggle and suffering are very different things, okay? So what I'm asking you to do is intentionally struggle for what it is that you want by choosing every day with your power of choice, and not suffer by doing the same things over and over and over, expecting a different result, or thinking that it's the only way that it is, or it just must be this way, so you keep repeating cycles. That is what I call suffering, okay? And it's both of them are things that we put ourselves through. So you get to choose how you want to live. So I'm going to get into what we talked about last week, because this is actually part 2 of last week's episode. But before I do, you see the new design, and you can see it's a little different design for us here at Do the Damn Work. And this one is actually inspired and created by my friend CJ Woodruff, who's also shot a lot of the videos that you saw me doing previously. So new design. This is actually in the store right now. If you go to shop.dothedamnwork.com, you can pick that up. Now, because everything that you wear from Do the Damn Work, I want it to actually mean something to you. Take time to really listen to this message to make sure you're willing to live uncomfortable and get out of your comfort zones. And if you know you need that extra inspiration, putting this shirt on in the morning can help you out. So here we go. Last week we talked about how you're a liar, how I'm a liar, right? These things come up, and these aren't lies where you're like blatantly lying to someone else about something. These are the lies I'm talking about, are the subtle lies that we tell ourselves, but they kind of go under the radar because we just become numb to the fact that we didn't do what we said we were going to do. Or we find a way to kind of wiggle out of it and not take full ownership for it because excuses seem to work at the moment. So what I'm challenging you to do is to stop lying to yourself. And so last week we talked about what most people do that I've seen, that I've coached, and what I've seen myself is that you forget about when you decide you're going to do something. There's got to be a trade-off and a certain amount of sacrifice there, because when you're saying yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. Okay, so we talked about this in the last episode. If you missed that, make sure you go back and watch it. There should be a link in the description below. Life is full of trade-offs. Understand that. It's fundamental. And also to understand, maybe you're just not willing to make the sacrifice or the necessary struggle yet. That's okay too. But don't lie to yourself and pretend that you are just because you kind of decide that you want something in the moment. When you decide you want it and you're going to go after it and you choose to take action, you will sacrifice and struggle in one way or another. All right. That's the path to the victory. Okay. So understanding that maybe you're just not willing to give what it takes right now. But another note to add on to that, don't fool yourself by thinking that you should have it and start complaining about it when you weren't willing to make the sacrifice. Okay. So this is what I left you with last week. There were 4 questions that you were going to answer. Hopefully you did that. If you didn't, go back and watch episode number 1, because I don't want you to be just another information gatherer just for the sake of having more information. That doesn't help you, and it's not something that I want to be part of in your life. There's enough information out there. This is stuff I want you to take action on. It's simple, and it'll change your life if you actually do it. And I only teach things that I have done myself or in the middle of experiencing, and it's making an impact. Okay, so the 4 questions I left you with that you should have answered. Do you want something to change? If you think about every area of your life, either your work, your relationships, yourself, your adventures, do you want something to change? If you answer yes to that, what have you been doing that is not in alignment with that thing that you want, with the change that you want? There's something you're doing. There's a trade-off that you're missing. There's a sacrifice you're missing that is keeping you out of alignment with the thing that you want. What's the sacrifices and trade-offs that you know you have to make? What are they? Not even saying that you're willing to make them yet, but what are those sacrifices and struggles that you know you have to endure in order to get to this thing in one of those 4 areas? And then the question number 4 is, are you willing to make the sacrifice? And if you're not, it's completely fine. But if you do, if you are willing to make the sacrifice, then it's time to go to work. It's time to do the damn work. Got to take action. Got to live uncomfortable. Okay. So now let's go into the second part of this, because I told you last week we're going to get real tactical. All right. Now, when you hear that, you may think, oh, there's a lot of things to do. Trust me, there's only 2 things that you need to do at the end of this lesson I'm about to teach you. Okay. So here is You're a Liar part 2. All right. So I recapped last week for you. Now, here's how you turn your sacrifices and trade-offs into something that is usable. First of all, what you have to understand is, in order to install these things into your life, the behaviors that you're going to have in order to be the person that achieves these things, you have to turn these things into discipline, routines, rituals. Discipline, routines, rituals. A lot of you might hear that and be like, that doesn't even sound fun. But listen, Jocko Willink wrote a book, and it's called Discipline is Freedom. Discipline is freedom. Most people think of it as the opposite. Discipline is torture. It's only torture because you haven't been willing to be disciplined long enough to see that you can achieve just about, or actually you can achieve everything you want through discipline. And we're all working on that. It's all right. But discipline is freedom. Okay. Rituals are freedom. Repeating the same things over and over. That's freedom. Routines are freedom. You know, the biggest reason why they're freedom is because they automate your thinking. Right? When you say you want to do something, there's actions that have to come after that to achieve it. The best thing you can do as a human is to automate the thinking process. Think I'm not telling the truth? Think about all the other things you do in your life. Think about tying your shoes. You don't have to think about that. All right? You can if you want to be intentional about maybe putting the other shoe on or whatever. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about literally, you don't really have to think about tying your shoe. It's an automated process. You learned it. You did it enough. It became a routine. You can do it without thinking about it. Okay? Driving. You don't have to think to drive. It'd be smart to think a little bit, but you know. You don't have to think to drive. You know to turn the wheel to the right side if you want to turn right. You know to push the brake if you want to slow down. These are automated processes. You can use this same mindset for installing new habits into your life. It takes repeating them up front, and then they become automatic. Now, how do you actually do that? This is where we get tactical. Okay, this isn't going to take long. There's two things you need to do. One, first of all, fill out your schedule with everything that is recurring in your life. If you know you wake up at the same time every day, that's a recurring event. If you know you leave for work at the same time every day, that's a recurring event. If you work the same hours every day, recurring event. If you have a lunch that you go to with a friend every week, recurring event. Write down every recurring event that you have in your life. Okay, so now your schedule is full of these recurring events, and you can also see the gaps of time that you have. All right, now that you have that done, we got to go back to think. All right, you said you were willing to sacrifice and trade off and struggle for this thing you want to achieve. It's going to require some behaviors from you. Those behaviors are going to take time. It would be the right thing to do to put those things in your calendar somewhere. So here's tactic number 2. Look at the actions that you know you need to do on a regular basis that need to become routine and automated for you. Fill out time in your schedule to actually work and practice on automating that for yourself. Here's an example. If you know that you'd like your nutrition to be better, and you know that preparing food on Sunday would help you start off better for your week. Well, if you write that in your schedule that, all right, on Sunday, I'm going to shop at 2 p.m. I'm going to start prepping my food at 3 p.m. and I'll be done by, I'll have everything prepped by 4 p.m. Then the first few times you do that, it can actually feel like a task and it can start to be something you don't want to do. You want the end result that it gives you, but doing the actions all the time isn't enjoyable. So be willing to endure that part. But what happens over time, you do it enough, it becomes an automated process. You still put it in your schedule just so you don't become too human, right? And then you kind of default back to old behaviors. This is what we do. But what you do is you start to automate the process. There's no more thinking about it. All right. If you know you want to get this new job that you've been thinking about, people have been telling you you'd be great at, you've wanted to do it for a long time, but you haven't done anything about it. So maybe you've been at the current job you're at for 20 years and you haven't filled out a resume forever. So the first step for you would be filling out a resume, but you don't really know how to do that. Then it would be wise to put in your schedule, in your open spots you have available, to spend 30 minutes researching how to write the best resume for, 2019. And you may have to do that 3 or 4 times. But okay, after 3 or 4 sessions of that, now you're ready to write your resume. All right, so you set aside time, you write that in your calendar. Okay, I'm writing the resume. I'm going to put an hour block to write my resume. You see what I'm doing here? I'm just piecing these things together. What's the logical next step? You know what that is. You know what the logical next step is. But you have to get the action written down into your open spots in your calendar, or else your human brain will find something else to do, like the dishes and mow the yard and take care of the kids and take care of the husband, the wife, and whatever else can help you procrastinate out of actually doing what you know would change your life. All right, so I hope that makes sense to you. Look, everything I'm giving you is super simple. There's nothing groundbreaking here. Simplicity works. But you hearing me say it isn't what makes it work. You actually going to do it makes it work. So here's a challenge for you. If you're listening to this and you've heard what I said for the tactics, fill out your schedule with everything that's recurring, and then now fill out your schedule with the actions that you need to take to start to implement the automated thinking. Take a picture of your calendar, send it to me privately, or you can post it in this thread below this video. But I want you taking action, all right? So look, that's it. Episode number 3, You're a Liar Part 2. Now, if you take these actions, what we can say is, you know, not necessarily that you're a liar anymore. Now you are someone who has overcome these little lies that we all tell ourselves. All right. So if you took "you're a liar" personal, good, because I took it personal too when I had the conversation with myself. We should, and then we take action on it. All right. So if you like the gear, head over to shopdothedamnwork.com. If this message resonated with you, give me a thumbs up, share it. Let's get, you know, some more eyeballs on this. My mission is to just get one person to take action on anything that you know will improve your life. All right, y'all, it's time to do the damn work. See you on episode number 4. Peace.